my name is Leanne Hadley, and you are here at Pieta, a spiritual movement of love and compassion towards ourselves, others, the earth, and all God's creatures. I'm so glad that you're here. We're doing this study tonight. Is our next to the last session, session number 7, on this book called The Serviceberry, which I really love a lot. And I've learned an awful lot from this book. So let's start by spending some time in our sacred space. I've already lit our candle, so here it is. And let's just be still and breathe for a moment. Be present with one another. And I'll begin with our Pieta prayer, and then we'll get going with our lesson for tonight. This is the prayer of being. Let me be in the world with nothing to prove, letting go of all expectations and judgment. May I give and receive compassion. May I care for others and receive their care. May I love deeply and receive love. May I be in the world with nothing to prove. May I be Pieta. So tonight we're going to look at finding balance. So we've been spending the last 6 weeks talking about abundance and sort of the contrast between accepting abundance and also sort of this capitalism, which is like scarcity. So the abundance model, the scarcity model. And tonight we're going to talk about finding balance in our own lives as we embrace more of an abundance model. So I want to begin with a quote here on page 90 and 91 of her book. And it says, "I cherish the notion of gift economy, that we might back away from the grinding system," meaning just the commercialism and the commodity system. So the gift economy, that there is abundance that we can give away and we will receive, and then the commodity system, which is I will buy and sell, we'll make everything a commodity, including air, water, everything. So she says, I cherish the notion of a gift economy, like really embracing this economy of abundance, that we might back away from the grinding system, which reduces everything to a commodity and leaves most of us bereft of what we really want. What we really want is a sense of belonging and relationship and purpose and beauty, which can never be commoditized. So what we want is to embrace the things that are free and are abundant. The things like belonging, relationship, purpose, beauty, being able to call up a friend anytime we want, all these things that are free, breathing the air, going outside and enjoying God's earth, all the things that are free and are around us all the time, we want to embrace that. But we live in this system where we have to work, we have to make money, and we live in capitalism in the United States, which is just like this ever-growing system. So of never having enough. So we talked about things like, how do we find enoughness in a system and in a world that tells us that there isn't enough, or that our job is to just accumulate. And so she quotes this economist whose name is Kate Raworth, and I read this book actually a few, maybe like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And anyway, she talks about this new economic system that she invites us to embrace. And she says, right now we live in a system that says the gross national product has to grow every year. Our bank accounts have to grow every year. This is just normal. Unbridled growth, get as much as you can, make all the money you can, and we never ask ourselves, when is it enough? So she says, let's, instead of having this never-ending growth, which can go on forever, what if we look at a donut as our economic system? And I'm going to show you this. Now, I read this book, and this is a simplification. If you're interested in this, you should go get her book and read it, because it is really, these lights are driving me crazy. It is really important to read this book, because don't listen to me, but this is what I took away from the book, and I think this is right. So what she had, here's my fancy graph here. What she says is that if we don't have enough in a society, when people don't have enough, then that takes away from our quality of life, this quality of life that we all deserve. If we don't have enough, then we're bereft of that. However, unbridled accumulation leads to robbing us of what we do have. And she says there is a sweet spot right here in the middle, which she calls the donut. Let's see, I can't do this very well. Right here, the donut. And she says this is when we have just enough. We have enough for everyone. We're not pulling away from the middle. We're not giving everything away so that we have nothing. It's like finding this peace in the middle, where we say, I have enough. I can let go of the urge to keep growing and growing and growing. I have enough, but also saying I need enough so that I don't give away everything that I own and have nothing. Like she says, there is this threshold that we need. That's the donut hole. Dip down in that, we don't have enough. Outside of that is this delicious donut, which is where everyone could have enough. If we would just say, this is enough for us as a planet, for us as individuals, for us as countries, this is enough. And in that donut, she includes the things that don't usually make it into our budgets and into the things that we measure. So she says, there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. There are caretakers that take care of the elderly. There are people that do kind things for each other all the time, give each other a ride, make a loan, all the things that are being a mother, raising your children, stopping your job, or a father, stopping your job long enough to raise your children. People that work in low-paying jobs because they care about what they're doing. So social workers, teachers, these people that are underpaid, firemen, firefighters, I guess they're not just men. So there are all these people that do things. They never get counted. And in donut economics, it says, look, here's everything. The money that we have, the people that are working for free, the people that are underpaid, we all matter. And the more we buy into this, the less of those unpaid jobs we're going to have, those low wages. So people are going to have to choose. If we got to have everything, they're not going to be teachers anymore. They're going to become something else. They're not going to be able to take time off to take care of an aging parent. They're going to have to put their parent in a nursing home, which is going to decrease what everybody has and the value of life. You see? So she's saying, could we just say enough is enough? And that's the donut that she talks about. Enough. Not too little, not too much. It's a donut. If you think that's too complicated to understand, in my mind, there's a story that we all know as children. Remember the little girl who was in the forest, and she goes to the three bears' house, and she gets in the first little bed, and it is, I think, what does she do first? It's not the bed. I think first she eats the porridge. And she sits in a chair. That's what it is. She sits in a chair, and the first chair, remember, is too soft. And the next chair is too hard. And then she finds the chair that is just right. And then she goes into the kitchen, and she's hungry. And the first porridge is too hot. And the second porridge is too cold. And then she finds the porridge that is just right. And then she goes into the bedroom, and she tries the bed that is too soft and then too hard. And then she finds the bed that is just right, and it's there that she rests and she sleeps. So that's kind of the balance that we're trying to find. Not too little, not too much. That's that abundance, I think, that this whole book is talking about. We can do it as people. We could do it as a country if we wanted to. We could do it as a world if we really believed in abundance. And that, I think, is the purpose of her whole book. Finding the balance where it's just right. So if I don't gobble up all the Earth's resources, there'll be more for somebody else. And if somebody else doesn't gobble up all my resources, there'll be enough for me. There's enough. It's all about finding the donut, the balance that Kate talks about. So that's what is our lesson for today. And there's scripture that Jesus says, in John 16:33, he's told them, life is hard, but I've overcome the world. You can find peace in the middle of the world. And Jesus says, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you may have tribulation, but take heart. I've overcome the world. Jesus was all about loving your neighbor, taking care of others, loving your neighbor as yourself. And I think that's what this donut economics and this understanding that we can live from an idea of abundance, we can share what we have with other people, and there will be enough. Peace comes when we love our neighbor as ourselves, just like Jesus said. But we live in this world that calls us to just grow, consume. If we continue to do this, we will evolve into chaos, destruction, not only of the earth, not only of the planet, but of our own souls. So this book really calls us to balance, enough. And our question, our reflection for tonight is very simple. It simply says, where are you out of balance? What's enslaving you? What's making you overspend? What's making you give everything away to the poor? How do we find balance? Where are you out of balance? What is enslaving you? And what steps can you do to find the balance and the peace that Christ calls us to do? Now, we'd like to change the government, change the world, change the economic system, whatever it is. I'm not talking about that. We can't do that tonight. It begins with us. Mother Teresa said, start in your own corner of the world. Live the way you want the world to be and see what happens. So if we started living out of an abundance, we have to first ask ourselves, how do we find balance between not having too little, not having so much that we just are enslaved to growing, never relaxing? How do we live in the donut and find the balance that we need? That's our question for tonight. So ponder that, and I'll see you next week for our final session on the Serviceberry. Thank you for being here. If you want to learn more about Pieta, visit my website at leanne-hadley.com.